Great. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are going to start at the top of our spreadsheet, if that's okay, with certificate of need. I have never seen that many co-sponsors on one bill ever in my, this is only my fourth session, but I've never seen that many co-sponsors on a bill before. Does someone want to begin discussion on the bill?
Madam Chair, I would say, given the fact that it has ranked the highest, everybody's in consensus. I'd like to move the bill.
Yeah, and I think for this one, too, I think it impact, if I can recall, I haven't given too much into it, but it has mostly to do with like our smaller mental health providers, I believe, and most of which you'll find in our rural communities. So I think that there's definitely a nexus between this bill and its impact on our rural communities. And I tell you that our mental and behavioral health, I mean, those folks need as much help as they can get in regards to getting as many providers in our communities. I would rather streamline the process and run the risk of maybe not dotting an I or crossing a T here or there, and have people not get treated at all, because we don't have enough providers. So I think this is a good bill.
Delegate Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. We just heard this bill in my committee.
Oh, great.
And it's not about, this bill is about beds.
That was it. Okay.
But our shortage is, you're correct, Mr. Co-Chair, our shortage, we've got an excess of beds, but we do not have enough providers and enough workforce. That is our issue. This bill is about beds, being able to open new facilities without going through the certificate of need. But our issue is providers.
Outpatient. It's outpatient providers is our biggest issue.
So would this exacerbate the problem?
I don't know if it would do that. I don't know if it would help the problem at all. Then we would have even more beds and still have a shortage of providers. So I'm not sure this bill would do what we would like it to do.
I know down in Tidal Health, Delegate Sample Hughes, I know we had some folks meet down there last week, and they're not at full capacity. I think you guys have like 16 or 18 inpatient mental health beds down there, and I think they're about half, I believe, is what I'm hearing. Am I correct on that? And we also have in Chestertown, we have some beds that aren't completely used to, I believe, at the Whitsitt Center.
Yeah, so yes, Mr. Chair, and I did get a follow-up from the meeting, brief follow-up that is, regarding the meeting that Tidal Health had with the University of Maryland, and they are partnering now, which is great. But anyway, that's going to allow the beds that are in Dorchester County to be utilized by them working together. So that's two counties in that region still working together. So I think our work on these efforts is forcing others to work together. And so I think that's a good thing. But Tidal Health, of course, they just got started in the space to provide this service. So I see the positive side on moving the needle to that end. So,
but Delegate Johnson made a good point, though. I mean, we don't have a bed problem. We have an outpatient provider problem, and this bill's not going to solve that outpatient provider problem. I don't think, is it? Delegate Johnson, I mean, it was your committee. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
That is correct. This would allow facilities to open without going through certificate of need, but we still have, then we would have more beds, but that does not cure our provider issue.
Sure. Okay.
Could we assume that people are not going to open, but it's effectively a business without having the personnel they need, or is that actually not a good assumption?
Well, we have an excess of beds, so they have opened.
They have, right.
Beds, and we have not enough providers, so that's already happening.
Yeah. Do you think we should not support this bill? I mean, do you think this is, because I certainly take your point. I'm really glad you heard that in your committee.
How long do we have? we're gonna wait a week, right?
We could certainly hold this until
So,
Tuesday.
so let's see what shakes out a little more in the committee, and
Okay,
I'll keep you guys informed.
that would be great. Wonderful. That's really helpful. All right, so we're gonna hang on to this one. I think an awful lot of delegates misunderstood this, including me, or didn't understand the actual effect.
Well, if you look, my name is on that bill. But
Okay.
after we got all of the information, it put a little bit different perspective on where our real shortage is.
Well, I
Right.
suggest we do with Delegate Johnson. It's his committee. I'll follow your lead on that. And maybe that doesn't rise to the level that our caucus should support at this point because there's not a whole lot of certainty. It doesn't sound like to me.
Let's wait, and I'm so glad that Delegate Johnson has gotten this extra information. That's what's wonderful about these discussions. You can really learn things you really never even thought about. But I didn't notice your name on it because literally everybody's name is on it. Oh, all right. Moving on to the next one. HB 972, the Maryland Fair and Agricultural Education Promise Act. So what this bill is that the fairs and ag education have been funded by when people bet on horse races, they used to get paper tickets, and I've never done this personally, so forgive me if I'm using all the wrong terminology. And they would sometimes forget to cash them in. You'd lose them or stick it in your pocket or what have you. And so that was where the money came from. So the lottery would be keeping that money, but now it's digital, so you kind of can't lose your ticket. And so the funds for the fairs have been diminishing. And I must say, my own fair, the Howard County Fair, has plenty of money, but there are others that are really struggling. And I do think that fairs, first of all, are a very critical tourism piece and an ability to showcase your county, but also ag education is something I think we need to be concerned about, just because so many farmers are my age, which is not great. So I supported the bill. Any further discussion? Shall we vote to support it? It seems to have majority support. Delegate Greist, you had a question mark next to it.
Well, I was wondering if this is supported by the farm. Is this one of their or
Oh, yes, Farm Bureau
whatever it
does
is?
support it.
Okay,
Farm Bureau
sure.
definitely
Yeah,
supports
I think we should support this one.
it. Okay. All right, great. Should we vote? I'm going to move favorable on 972.
Second it.
Okay. Is anybody opposed to supporting this? Okay, seeing no one, we have our first bill to support. Excellent. All right. 377, physician's assistants, parity with other healthcare practitioners. It got nothing but yeses. Not to put you on the spot, Delegate Johnson, but have you heard this bill?
That is my bill.
I was going to
That
say
is
that's a
your
sponsor
bill.
problem on this.
That's right.
So this bill was on for mental health. This was to put the physician's assistants to let them be a second signatory on admissions. But we ran into some issues where they don't have the same mental health training as the other professions. So we took the involuntary admissions off of the bill. And so we have everything worked out. I'm still working with the psychiatrist on one more issue. So this one, I think we should wait as well, make sure we get everything worked out. But it's so we have better coverage in rural areas and smaller hospitals that may not have two people that are authorized to sign an admission on the shift at the same time. And that would be causing our ED backups, our wait times, all that. So if we could hold that one as well, let me see if we can work out this one last issue. But if we can get that worked out, that would help the rural areas, allowing the physician's assistants to do more and allowing the process through the hospitals to flow better.
Right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. We will hang on to that. But look forward to being able to support it. HB 56. This did not get any support. I'm not sure what the nexus is to rural areas in particular.
Yeah, Delegate Hornberger had yes. I think
Oh, he
generally
did?
single
Okay.
member districts do work better for rural areas, but if you were to talk, that's my opinion. But then if you have a conversation with Delegate Jacobs, who we represent the exact the same district, he'll give you a completely different opinion. And that's the reason why I said no. Is that I think you're going to get, if you were to survey our rural members of the House of Delegates, you're going to get different answers on this one. And unless we can get a consensus, I don't think we should support it.
I would agree. And I personally am in a 2-member district where I would argue that we have two very different things going on. I'm in one of those places that is very rural and then very urban in the same district, or very suburban, let's say, in the same district. And I think that the 2 members together do a much better job of representing, because we each have different strengths and communities that we're more connected to. I think together we do a much better job of representing our complicated district than either one of us could by ourselves.
I agree with that. I'm in a 2-member district, and it allows us to split up and tag team a lot of different things that are going on in the district, different issues with different constituents.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the argument against that is your district's smaller. It makes it easier. Your district will be half. If you're a 2-member district, if it was single member, you would cover half the distance and half the number of people. But again, and I respect all the different opinions. And unless we can agree on this, I don't think we should change the rules. Actually,
I agree.
Yeah, just to chime in here. The one bill that I have doesn't actually take a position. It just puts it to a ballot referendum for counties. So I'm not advocating for either side. I think both sides have merit. I'm just saying that the voters should be the one that ultimately decide that for that particular district.
sure. Okay.
So yours
But if
is
we don't-
tabling?
Yeah, well, it
This bill
actually
doesn't
puts it
do
to a
that.
ballot question.
Yeah, Boucher's bill. This bill doesn't do that, though. I don't think, does it? It establishes a convention.
Correct. So I guess where I was going with this is that there's a lot of nuance to this subject, but I do agree with all of you. If there's not universal consensus with this body, then we shouldn't be moving bills.
Right. Okay, the next one is requiring the adoption of charter home rule for counties. Again, I would be surprised if everybody, there may be some counties that feel that it's time to move to charter rule, but I'm sure there are others that are quite happy with the commissioner system.
Well, I think it meant code home rule, I believe. Charter is different than code home rule, and then you have the commissioner. Honestly, that's a local decision that we should not be with, and that's where you'll see me. And it's like the silver and starter preemption bill. I think the local people, the people closest to, or the representatives closest to the people, should be making those decisions, not us.
Yeah, ultimately, these there are pathways in place that allow via ballot referendum or by the local board, local body to put that on the ballot. So I would, again, same thing, always advocate for the voters deciding that.
Me too.
So,
Me too. Okay, so we will take a pass on that. HB, God, I need reading glasses. HB 186. natural resources, bow hunting on Sundays. Again, this received a mixed reaction. Any discussion?
I just think the other bill, Kevin, I mean, is 10:30, I think it was at 10:36, I think. I referenced it in the comments. I think that's a better Sunday hunting bill, actually. And I think we should support one of the two, but I think the other one might be better. That's why I put no on that.
Yeah,
Delegate,
both bills have support of the Sportsman's Caucus. However, the larger bill that Delegate Boyce has is also have the addition of the DNR assisting.
Yeah, 1063 is Boyce's.
Yeah, they had work groups over the interim, and it's a lot more detailed bill.
Delegate Baker.
Yes, I did support this HB 190, and I'm not so sure. We'd have to check that Delegate Boyce's bill has the archery Sunday hunting statewide in it.
Is that right?
And I think we need to check that. And also my thoughts are, for me, it makes sense for me to support both bills, because if one doesn't pass, hopefully one of the two will pass, and hopefully both would pass, because farmers, they need the help. And in addition, if that's my land in that area that they're pushing for Sunday hunting, and I'm not allowed to hunt on my property, at least with a bow on Sunday, I shouldn't be taxed on that a certain percentage of my property. That's my property. I should be able to use it. And my family should be able to use it if we decide we want to go bow hunting on a Sunday.
And
So-
But you know,
This-
the thing, sorry.
Go
Go ahead. I was
Nope.
just gonna say that the thing about this is that with a crop damage permit, which is free and very easy to obtain and very easy to re-up if you use it up, you can hunt 365 days a year, and you can always hunt on your own property in every county. I live in a no Sunday hunting county, but we have crop damage hunters
On Sundays.
whenever they want. And we occasionally make a no Sunday rule, but that's our, because we also have people who ride horseback, but that's our decision as the farmers.
And like I said, that's the reason I supported it, because I want property owners, even if they only own wood plots and they don't have a farm, they should have access to their
I see. You mean if they can't
Property.
get a crop damage permit?
on Sunday.
Okay.
So
we
that's
have Sunday hunting almost every Sunday, like from basically third week of September through almost into February, right?
in most of and much of the state. I don't know which county it's out Western Maryland. We have a great system out that way.
Yeah, and I say Eastern Shore too. I think you can hunt bow even on private property. You can on public property. Maybe this expands it to the public. Can we just hold this till Tuesday? Let me can I take a closer look at this and just see what the specifics are on this,
Okay.
and then
Thank you, Jeff.
because I'm a hunter, so I'll
Yeah.
have a pretty good understanding.
It
Can we-
includes turkey hunting.
Mhm.
Delegate Johnson.
Yeah, Mr. Co-Chair, if you're going to look at that, could you do some comparison with the 1063 Boyce's bill?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
see
we can do
if we
that.
want to do them both, or if there's one of them we really want to focus on.
Yeah, we'll hold that 186 and then 1063.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to 916, regional transportation authorities. This got a very mixed reaction from the committee. So any discussion on this bill? Delegate Baker, you have your hand up. Is it just still up, or? You're not, okay. Okay.
So this gives low taxing authority to local governments. Is that what this is doing?
Yes, it creates
Well, not the
three
governing
corporate-
bodies, but an authority, a local authority.
Exactly, yes. It creates three authorities, including one for Southern Maryland. And I do like this. I think that Virginia has been very successful with this system, and we have parts of Southern Maryland are growing at an incredible rate. Charles County, I believe this was true at least a couple of years ago, is the fastest growing county in the United States. So I do think that this regional authority offers localities the chance to change with the changes that are already taking place on the ground, and that taxing authority is important. So I like this bill, but
But yeah, I mean,
there
how
were
is it
some
going to impact
no's
the rural
and
parts of Maryland? Because Charles County is pretty suburban, I would say. I mean, it has its rural parts, but I think the impact of this bill will probably be more felt in the more urban parts of Charles County. And I don't see the impact at all in the rural parts at all. I mean, I think this bill would probably more apply to the medium to large size counties than it would the small counties, wouldn't it?
yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just think that it would be helpful for Southern Maryland. I mean, that's a big, that captures.
Yeah, no, I wish we could have someone. We don't have Todd Morgan here, do we? I know he generally attends these meetings. Hold this one too and talk to our folks in
Okay.
Southern Maryland, because honestly, for the other counties that it looks like it impacts, Montgomery, Prince George's, to be quite honest,
Oh, yeah.
I don't really discuss anything that's going to impact them and not really anybody else. But yeah, let's see if this is an interest to Southern Maryland, and we can revisit on Tuesday.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I will certainly talk to Todd about it. Okay. And everyone else and maybe we can have maybe we can find a good transportation person. House Bill 395. This is a personal one that I really, really feel strongly about. I think the government messed up and we need to fix it. This is the CAFO bill. It would, I think, as everybody knows, MDE neglected, I believe just through an oversight, to renew the general discharge permit that covers all of the all of the broiler operations. And so because of a law that was passed, I believe in 2019, people who want to start a chicken house are not able to do anything, get financing, put a shovel in the ground at all, because the government neglected to renew this general discharge permit. So this bill would not, you wouldn't be allowed to discharge anything. You can't put chickens in your house. You can't do anything, but you could build it. And you could go to a bank and get financing. And as you all know, this is like $600,000 type kind of money we're talking about to build a chicken house. So it's really holding people up and keeping people in limbo through no fault of their own. And I believe this bill will probably be amended to just apply to cases like this where the governments didn't fulfill their obligation to renew that discharge permit, which weirdly covers all chicken houses. I don't understand why the system is like that, but it is. So I feel this is a very important bill that I hope we can support.
We are going to have Grayson here on Tuesday, along with Farm Bureau and Lindsay, with grain producers.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing they're tracking this, but I would imagine
Oh,
Grayson's
yes, they
definitely
are
tracking
100%.
this.
This is his main mission in life right now. Yeah.
So yeah, if we could, I'm pretty sure that we're all on board with this one. I think this is a great bill. But I don't want to steal his thunder for Tuesday. If we could let him hop hop up on his
Explain why
soapbox
he
and talk
needed
about this one.
Absolutely. And as I say, I think realistically, we need to understand that it almost certainly will be amended, tightened up to just apply to these circumstances
Sure.
where it's specifically needed. The permit lasts 5 years, so this would next come up 5 years from now.
Right.
Well, let's go ahead and hold that. All right, another one I really hope we can support, but should probably hold. 429 Delegate Voices on Farm Organics and Wasted Food Reduction. So, I think, well, grain producers testified in favor of this bill
Okay.
and is a strong supporter. I think that the title is misleading. And I would, just personally, it has a significant fiscal note, but I think it is truly a benefit to agriculture. But I would ask that we hold this until Tuesday when a more eloquent person in the form of Lindsay Thompson can present it to us.
And yeah, and we'll reach out to all three, in regards to these specific bills that we definitely want to more information on. Okay. Thank you.
Delegate Johnson?
These bills that have large physical notes, if they're not going anywhere, should we just pass over them this year and focus on ones we think we might get through?
In general, I would say yes. This one, I do think, might get some amendments that would make it much more palatable. So, I would like to wait on discussing that, but yeah, generally speaking, sure, if you know it's not going anywhere. But I think that this one does have a chance, with some amendments. So if we could wait to decide until Tuesday, I would really appreciate that.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I try not to have, they say don't fall in love with your bills, but
Mhm.
I, I don't seem to be able to avoid that. HB 1063, this is Delegate Boyce's Natural Resources Hunting Management Bill, which I must say, my committee has been through the tortures of the damned with this subject. And as Delegate Baker knows all too well, and Delegate Boyce has done yeoman work over the interim, trying to bring these disparate stakeholders together. So, and this did get, I see only yeses here. Discussion on the bill?
Delegate Johnson, we talked about holding this one with 186, but I mean, this one seems like it has pretty broad support, doesn't it? And we might be able to move this one and then just hold 186 just to see specifically what that one does in regards to public, private, what days, which counties, and those are the questions I have for the other bill.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
I would just say that this bill is a work product of many years of
Yes.
meeting with constituents and interest groups, and very, very supportive of the bill.
Okay. So
Thank
is
you,
that a motion, Delegate Hornberger?
So moved favorable.
I'll second. Anybody opposed to supporting HB 1063? All right, that gets a yes. Excellent. Moving on to 817, carton removal technology and practices, regulation, and use of funding. This bill requires MDE to permit CO2 removal technologies and allow existing funds to be used towards CO2 removal programs for aiding climate change. The sponsor mentions it would allow rural Maryland to take steps toward fighting climate change. I wonder if we don't need some help with this. There were some yeses, some nos, some question marks. Discussion on the bill, does anybody?
Whenever I see climate change in a piece of legislation, I get triggered.
I know you
Just-
do. I know you do. And I think there are a couple of bill titles. This is a funny thing. I've said this to numerous groups that you really need to be careful about your language. People are always lecturing farmers about, regenerative farming practices and stuff. Turns out to be what we already do. We just don't call it regenerative, right? You know what I mean? Like there are some trigger words in our political landscape, but
We do have a couple hands up.
yeah, Delegate Baker.
Yes, I appreciate Jeff making that comment. So my question mark will be a definite no. Thank you.
Delegate Johnson.
Yeah, I just was wondering how it allows rural Maryland to take steps towards fighting climate change. I mean, is it something the farmers, again, are already doing, or is it something that's really out of their scope? Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what this bill does for rural Maryland.
Well, I would be happy to talk to the bill sponsor and try and get some concrete examples of exactly what we're talking about. Just to try to get a better understanding of what it is.
Because if it doesn't help rural Maryland, then
Right. No, well,
it would be a no as well.
it was, and as would I, but I think it's possible that it might actually be helpful for farmers. So I would like to try and, as I say, get some concrete examples of exactly what we're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll hold that. All right, HB 460, solar energy. This is the bill that would take the ability to put solar in the priority preservation area from 5% down to 2%. And we have mixed reactions.
All right, so I took the lead last year in opposition to, I think that was House Bill 1036, I think, if I can recall. I just want to start by saying we need, I think it's something like 36,000 acres in Maryland with solar in order to be able to hit our energy goals in regards to our rec. And at 5% of the priority preservation area, that puts us at about 105,000 acres statewide. For the 9 counties on the Eastern Shore, 5% is about 50,000 acres. And so realistically, they're never going to get to 5. There's just not enough landowners that's going to sell out to most of their oil developers that are building these solar panels. Most people aren't going to sell out. I think the low-hanging fruit's already been accomplished. But to have over 50,000 acres in 9 counties on the Eastern Shore, if anybody's visited my county in Caroline, anywhere north of Greensboro right now, and I think we're built out to close to 5,000, I believe, and this will allow up to 8. The 2% is going to get us to where we need to go, and then some. And so to allow some counties will go over 2, between 2 and 5. None of them will probably get to 5. But if you're looking at somewhere between 2 and 5, the amount of acreage that's covered in solar panels, it literally completely changes the landscape. And one of the things that we keep fighting for in the rural parts of Maryland is that people come to the Eastern Shore, they go to Western Maryland, they go to Southern Maryland, they go to those places because of the landscape. They go to those places because of the charm of our small town living, and we do everything we possibly can. I mean, we're spending a lot of money, we're spending a lot of time and resources to preserve those things. And then in just one bill, we're going to go in and we're going to add over 50,000. We want to add, and that's the intent of the bill. That's the intent of the legislators. Last year, we moved that legislation, was to put over 50,000 acres of solar panels on the Eastern Shore. That's absurd. And we honestly believe that even a 2% of the priority preservation area is more than a compromise. It should be even less than that. And that 2% is going to cover over the 30,000. I mean, you can reduce it to 2 and it's still going to cover our renewable energy goals with solar. And so 2% is more than a compromise. But unfortunately, we were strong armed last year. And we were told that, 10% is where they wanted to be and 5 was a compromise. Well, that's absurd. Their goal is the moon and they shot for the stars, and then the distance between the moon and the stars is a compromise. I don't think so. So I think the 2% is more than fair. And like I said, please travel to Caroline County. You'll travel for miles on end and see nothing but solar panels right now. And they're not even halfway toward what they could, or they're a little more than halfway where they to the potential that could be built in Caroline County. So, and they're being put on very productive cropland, and some of the most productive cropland in the country, and it's a bad policy decision to do this, and it'll be a good policy decision to reduce that threshold from 5% to 2%.
Delegate Sample Hughes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I just echo completely what Delegate Grice is saying. I know when we got back from session last year, this was like a hot topic in Dorchester County in particular, as it was in Wycomico, but I could vividly see the many residents, the commissioners, all of them who were really upset about the bill. I think this is a compromise. This at least speak to the part that we have, heard the concerns even more so. But yeah, when you go, every time someone comes about a solar project, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like Grice, when he said it's a word that triggers him, it's almost the solar that kind of triggers me, because I'm thinking like, what part of Dorchester County? What do I have to defend? How close is it? How large is it? And so, I think this would be a compromise to those concerns. So that's why I voted, on the spreadsheet the way I did. Thank you.
I should have mentioned that this bill also includes a study on decommissioning, which I do fully support and think is very important. I neglected to mention that. Further discussion on the bill?
I will make a motion to support this bill.
Okay, is there a second? Terry Baker. Everybody in favor of supporting this bill? Please say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Everyone opposed? So I didn't count. I'm sorry. Did you see the count, Jeff?
I did not. Delegate Hornberger, which way?
Yes.
Yeah, support. Yay.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4,
For sure.
and 3 opposed. So it passes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And I think we're covered on that because you guys were able to vote.
No, right,
Thank you.
right. Absolutely. Okay. Do we have time for one more? I know it's getting very close to time for the floor. House Bill 1358, Delegate Congolo, Labor and Employment, Workforce Development, and Local Workforce Development Boards. This bill got unanimous consent. It directs state funding and coordination through local workforce development boards where there are major workforce disruptions in one area. It ensures there are bodies coordinating and supporting communities during disruption, which the sponsor says is a need felt acutely in rural areas. And I think we all agreed with that. Is there discussion on the bill?
No, I'll move to support it.
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone opposed? No. All right.
Can we add one more before we leave very quickly? And we added this one at the
Yeah.
end. This is a Delegate Ruff bill. We had a situation where a farmer found out from one of their neighbors that someone was trying to sell their land. And what happened is their identity was stolen. They went to a title company and found a buyer. And I'm guessing in order for that buyer to purchase that property, it was probably way well under market value. And that property was very close. That transaction was very close to being completed. And once it was recorded, that deed was recorded, that transaction was lawfully transaction, and the new buyer would have it. Now, the rightful owner, the previous owner, would be able to collect from the title insurance on that. However, they would lose ownership of that property. So Delegate Ruff has but this the same thing happened down apparently in Ocean Pines as well. And that was a residential property. I'm guessing with Delegate Ruff, it must have happened in Baltimore City too. But there's what this bill does. Nobody knows the answer to it, but it's going to bring a lot of smart people together to find a solution during the interim. And I think this will be a good land protection bill.
Yeah, I would like to second that. We did have an instance of this occurring in Cecil.
Wow. Yeah, I was saying to Delegate Grice that this seems like Latin America.
It does.
Seem like here, but okay. Yes. To me, that sounds like a great
I'll
bill.
move to support that one.
I'll second. Everyone in favor? Do we need more time?
Aye.
Aye. Delegate Baker, were you a yes? You were a yes. Okay, great.
And I'm a yes, Delegate Sample Hughes.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Sample Hughes. Okay, well, that passes well. And that was 130, House Bill 130, correct?
Yes, it is. Mhm. Thank you.
Great. Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you so much. I think we are at time to get to the floor, and we have a number of bills left to look at on Tuesday, but we'll also
We have one speaker, don't we? I think we're going to give them maybe 10-15 minutes, and then we'll switch over to voting on more bills. And then we'll have Farm Bureau, Delmarva Poultry, and then and
Grain
Lindsay with,
producers.
the grain producers will be here to answer any questions that we have, and they're going to provide us. I think Lindsay's already done it. They're going to provide us the bills they're tracking. And then so hopefully we can support whatever they're supporting, and then like any of the bills that they're concerned about, maybe we can offer some amendments on those bills. And then it was actually good news that the speaker is certainly willing to help us amend some of these bills. And then the reason why she wants to do that is that she wants to, put it out there to the public that the rural caucus is making a lot of progress, and that we're doing wonderful things for our rural community. So she wants to put out that out there publicly. So that's a good thing for us. And so the work we're doing it's very much worth it. And and I'm very thankful for what you all are doing.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you all so much. Very, very good discussion. All right. We'll see.